the extent of your powers, little one. Now you will watch me draw upon the power of the universe to send the child into the netherworld. Now place it on the altar.
Today we're going to start with the Age of Rune play-along series. You can create a PC in 1 minute. If you've been here before, you know how to do that. We're going to use the 2-point combat action system. 20 to 25 minutes of it is literally the PC creation. So I guess in real time, it's actually about 30 to 40 minutes for the actual gameplay. I have to show you how to create a character real quick if you haven't done this before. This way you can immediately create a character and play along if you don't have a PC. So what we're going to basically do is use Shadowdark rules, essentially, which is don't let it freak you out. Shadowdark and Dungeons & Dragons are essentially the same thing. Shadowdark is a 1E, 5E hybrid. But it's if you've played any Dungeons & Dragons game, this is going to be completely familiar to you. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and do character creation. And so first thing you need to do is go to shadowdarklinks.net. Okay. Excuse me again. Get the elixir. Apologies again if my voice gets a little weird. So you go to this shadowdarklinks.net. I believe we're up to the 6 scrolls for Shadowdark, and these scrolls are basically supplements, and they all come with new environments, new classes. But for simplicity's sake, for today, we're going to unclick all these. Although I do recommend looking at them. They have like a warlocks. They have what you might call a dark paladin. They have a ranger. There's a lot of different other classes on here, which, in my opinion, are a little bit stronger than the core. But you can definitely, except for maybe the magic user. Well, I guess the magic and the cleric are all pretty. Anyways, so let's go and unclick these. And so the fastest way you can do this, if you already played it and you don't have the character sheet on you, and you just want to get going, is you choose random one, hit best fix, and then you can just create random character. And as you can see down here, it create a goblin thief. Again, part of the core. You can see dexterity is the primary core attribute that's important for this. And if you were happy with this, that's the other thing. So today we're going to do an adventure. I'm a little rusty, but we're going to do the adventure for any level between 3 and 7. And the way we're going to compensate for that is by giving you more henchmen for the lower levels that you choose. So in this case, I'm actually going to pick a level 3 character. And then I'm just going to give myself X amount of extra henchmen to take with me for this adventure. And we'll talk about how henchmen work in the game. So let's just say we're going to go here. We can go down here. We're going to do a milestone because it'll automatically give you the levels. So we're going to hit, if you want to get to level 3, you want to roll for our hit points. Roll hit points there, and then we'll roll for talent. So everything's there. Now, if we were ready to go, this export PDF, if you click that, give it a second to generate. Well, we pulled it up over here, but let me pull it over here. Now you can see we have a character. That fast. What? Oh, we don't want to open on my 20 other PDFs. Okay, so we immediately have a character. If you're happy with this thief class, I actually recommend, well, you know, if you want to be a thief, but maybe fighter class might be more suitable, or one of the magic user classes. So if you're ready to go, you can actually literally screenshot this. I'm looking at my thing. It looks like it would be pretty nice detail for a screenshot. By the way, I should note these things. If you cannot see this, if it looks blurry, it's literally the settings on your YouTube channel. You can go to the settings, and then it'll show you what level of pixelation or definition you have, and you can increase it to the highest one, and you should be able to see these little writings if they're a little blurry on your screen. Of course, always turn your phone sideways. Maybe that might help. But this gives you all the classes of the weapons, give you the armor class, your hit points. This guy's hit points are pretty low. We're going to do the average, the way they do it in D&D. So I believe it's a 1d4, so technically it's a 3. So she should at least have 9 hit points plus. So 10 hit points in this case would be this guy. So 3, 3, 3 plus 1. So that would make it 9 because you get Constitution bonus for the first level, but not any other level thereafter. And a lot of this other stuff's not really necessary to know. But here we got crossbow weapons. You can do your attack. That's all you're really going to need to know for today's game. Okay, so, but let's say we want to make a little more different character. We want to be able to choose what we are. This is good to see here too. If you're not happy with this, regenerate. and then we can actually regenerate till we get the class that we want. So rather than actually going through it, we can just keep hitting regenerate. If you want, you can go through the entire design process, which we're not going to do. But then you can actually, add all these things individually. So wow, this is a really good roll. 17 strength. Same thing as before. We want to get him to level. Why does it say dexterity here? This is nonsense. He has a high strength. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to level him up. Again, same thing, level 3 at minimum. Roll for those hit points. Roll for that talent. Select armor. I bet you it's going to just give us leather. Sometimes this doesn't give you really good armor, but we're going to fix that a little bit later. So pick armor. And again, I think we're pretty much ready after that. So then we would just hit export. And then now we have Muathazeglimid, the fighter. And you can see 10 hit points. That's still way too low. So I always give them average. So again, 5 plus 5 plus 5. That's 15 plus nothing here. You don't actually add that. So 15 hit points at minimum you would have. Okay. Armor class 16, leather armor, looking good. There you go. And I chose correctly. So normally it doesn't load you up with good equipment or gear. So if you wanted to pick chainmail, then when we're gonna do this next step, you can actually pick chainmails to buy, actually. So that's how you create your Shadowdarks. Again, you can probably screenshot this. It could be, I guess, zoom in a little. That's probably good enough. Yeah. You can probably screenshot that, apply that. That would probably work pretty good in terms of screenshot, if it's not coming out too good. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is how fast you can create a character. If you wanted to play, if you have a Beckme character, you can also use Beckme characters to play this game as well. Like I said, it's a 1E, 5E hybrid, but it uses a lot of 1E stats, so you can easily use your 1E character. Here's fastcharacter.com. It actually has the 5E 5.1. Actually, it should be called 5.5. I don't know why I said. Anyways, then it has Player's Handbook 2014, Player's Handbook 2024. So we're going to pick BX. All right, this is BX, Beckme. These are all compatible with each other, if you've heard of them, or OSE, Old School Essentials. They're all compatible. They're basically the same system, but cleaned up. But we're going to click D&D BX. All right, and then when we scroll down, I like choosing the elf because the elf is essentially kind of like an Eldritch Knight back in the day, because you can use these a fighter and a magic user. We'll put level 3, and we're not going to pay attention to any of this, and this will actually generate it exactly similar. So if we just click that, now you can see I have a character sheet ready to go. Okay, so we can have these stats are kind of whack, but if you can go back and redo it, because you don't want to play with that. I'll allow you. We used to recreate characters all the time, so I don't really care if you do it here. 12 strength, that's a little bit better. Hit points, again, this is a little low. 3d6 hit dice, that's 4, 4, 12. You would need to have 12 at minimum. Okay, and we're not going to use any of these saving throws. We're going to use the standard. I'll just make a con check or whatever. And then it has the ascending armor class, but I'll show you how to convert that real quick. Let's see. Usually this one's pretty good in terms of giving you magical items. But I don't really see anything here. But it does give you gold pieces, which you can use later. But again, you can see it's kind of like an Eldritch Knight. You can charm person, magic missile, and cast web. Okay, not bad. So again, you can go here, generate this character if you're on your phone or at home on your PC, and be ready to play. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is the virtual dice. Okay. Quick note. I'm not paid by any of these guys. I don't know anybody in these companies. I just like to use their resources. And so if we go to dieharddice.com, full disclosure, I have bought dice from them, but I was a customer. They don't know anything about me. There's a dieharddice.com, and if you put in a dice roller or virtual roller on the Google, it'll come up. And you can see it has a dice here. You can actually roll. So if you want to do 3d6 damage, there it goes. All right, if you want to shuffle and throw them into the mimic, he spits it out, and it tells you how much you do. Boom, 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 boom. 11 points of damage. Okay, get rid of it with the sweep. Okay, you have 20, you need to roll 20. I would recommend taking the first die that flies off of this, but there you go. You can shuffle it. What? You have disadvantage? Throw an extra die in there. And just roll it. Okay. Sweep it, go back to the 1. All right, so this is the virtual die roller. You can use it at any time. or use it as part of the game. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the 2-point action system. It's, something I use. I guess you can say I'm the creator of it, but it's really solved the math problem with all OSR games and Shadowdark as well. As you guys probably know, if you play any old school game, when it's your turn, you can either move and then attack, or move, but you can't attack. And that to me is just nonsense. So I threw in an extra attack in there, at least a second type of maneuver you can do. But we'll go over that very quickly after this. But I want to show you can go to donfranco3games.com, go to the RPG Boons tab. And there's a bunch of stuff here for the card game that I have and whatnot. But if you look to the right here, it says free RPG free download. Well, I should reword that, free RPG download. You can just download the chart, which is what I'm going to show you. You can go through the entire PDF and look at the rules. We're going to be using medium magic setting because this allows you to do a second spellcast. But you can get in there. I also have, a couple other unofficial, the Mentalist class, the Arcane Scrapper class. And also I have another one called the Vitaemancer, which is somewhat with this. We're going to be a little bit doing something about that in today's episode. But basically you can take these and create some subclass or custom classes that I created, which are the Mentalist and the Arcane Scrapper. The Mentalist is more like a bardish person. He has one primary attack, which is try to disable your opponent, and then you can flavor him using various spells. The Arcane Scrapper is literally me creating a Mortal Kombat style martial artist who uses magic to do their maneuvers. And so I would love for anybody to check these out. They've been tested, but the Arcane Scrapper is more brand new, and I would love for any feedback you can send me. Post it on videos. You can actually email this Don Franco 3 Games website, which is my website. You can send me messages there to, give me your feedback. Now, or leave a message anywhere on my videos. Probably this one or any of them though, because I get notifications and I do check them out regularly. So, I think that's it. So let's go in with that. Hopefully, it didn't take too much time. Oh, that one was pretty short. So again, let's go over some basic rules. So it's the Age of Ruin and Exploration. Working on the title a little bit, whatever. So before you start, level up the PC. If I do not say it in the video, the DC is a 10. Okay, because in the past I forgot to say what DC is. It's a DC of 10, and the reason I do that, sometimes I'll say, DC 15, DC 13, but if I don't say anything at all, it's a DC 10. A lot of times it's DC 10. I do this because I want your bonuses to matter. Right, there's nothing worse than having a freaking +4 DC 15, and what's the point of you having a freaking 18 strength? So anyway, so then if the images are blurry, video resolution, try to fix that. If you're watching this live, tends to be slow. I don't care who's recording it. It tends to be slower than normal. You can bump up the speed if you're watching this after the fact to 1.25 speed, and it might play what you are accustomed to. So not just for my video, but any future video. You see, you can actually boost the speed. I was talking about that ascending armor from all the old school stuff, the old school D&D stuff, how you can convert that. Depending on what level you chose, your 1 through 3, 4 through 6, your armor class is translatable to here. Okay, so let's go look back at our character. Armor class of 4. If we look at a 4 and it's a level 3 character, that's actually a 15. Okay. So it's very close to just taking, in this case, it's 19 minus 4, right? So if you had a 19 and you minus 3, it's 16. Yeah, 19 minus 2 is 17. So if you get what I'm saying, so that's how basically you calculate it out. But if you want to do that, just look at your armor class. 4 is 15. Now you know what your armor class is. So it was 14, 15. Yep, that's right. So 4, you'd have a 15 armor class for this game. And I don't know, this is just my side note. It actually counts to having a +1, a +2 bonus to hit, but we don't ignore all this. But what I do want to do is I want to use Shadowdark ability stats because that's just where they take it from 5e, making these numbers matter a little bit more. Let's not get into what I'm talking about, but if you know what I'm talking about in terms of what these numbers meant back in the day, it was really hard to get these bonuses. Excuse me again. The elixir so divine. So if you, whatever strength or stats you have, I would literally take my character sheet if you created a D&D BX character and add these bonuses, like mark these down next to it if you can. Or, screenshot this as well so you know what your bonuses are. And we're going to be using the 2-point action system, okay? It looks pretty good. Let's zoom in a little bit more though, okay? So the 2-point combat action system is very simple. I mentioned before, it's, the action economy with OSR games is pretty bad. You can only move, or move attack, or just attack. So if you don't have to move, you waste energy basically. So in this case, we allow a second type of attack. So here's your primary move is to move or melee or spellcast. That's a standard role like every other game. But your secondary maneuver, if it's going to be an attack or a move or a spellcast, these are the rules. So you can easily, like any other, at all times, you can always move up to your move again. If you do a second attack, it's a -3 penalty. That's equal to a difficulty class in Shadowdark, but it just means in roleplay sense, once you throw that first strike, the second strike, the opponent's a little bit more ready for it. And so therefore there, you lose the ability to attack better. And then the spellcast, tier 1, single targeting, non-incapacitating. Yes, this really limits the power of that second spell, but this is what balances the game. Now there is no penalty because not only is the spells weakened, the second one you can cast, but on top of that, in Shadowdark, if you cast a spell and you fail, you can no longer use that spell. So it's a big price to miss in Shadowdark. Okay, so the other thing that makes the 2-point action system unique is that you can actually do reactions. Okay, so you get 2 points as soon as the combat starts. Anytime that combat starts, you have 2 points. If someone takes an attack at you and you might die from that attack immediately, you can attempt to parry or block, and that's going to give you a -2 to their attack. This is something anybody can do, right? Anybody can, pick up their shield or block with their sword, even if they're not proficient. This is just what standard people can do. But to really give parry and block, meaning if you have proficiency in the weapon that you're using, you can add your dexterity modifier. So it really helps make that dexterity matter and more dexterous players matter. The next reaction you have, so there's really only 2 reactions in this game, is dive. And what you do is you just dive into the line of sight space that you are, except you fall prone. And when you're prone, obviously they're going to have maybe advantage against you. But this is a last resort attack. You can see the hit points are pretty low here in Shadowdark, right? You're going to have 12, 15 hit points. Basically, that amounts to about 1 or 2 hits, maybe 3. And if you don't want to take that final blow, you can do a dive into a space. It's going to cost you 1 point. So again, all these maneuvers cost 1 point to use. You get 2 points for as soon as combat starts, and as soon as your turn ends, you get the 2 back. Okay, but if you dive, you jump the distance as far as you can, line of sight. It's got to be clear. You fall prone. It costs you an entire point to stand back up. So this is really one of those moments where all you're trying to do is survive. So you dive, that costs you a point. It's your turn. You're prone. You can spend a point to stand up, and your turn is basically over. Okay. And there is no jump calculation, but I created one for Shadowdark here. It's just one. Everybody can jump 1 space, basically, but the stronger you are, you add your strength modifier. And then if you have your full move and then jump, you can double whatever that is. So you can move up to, if you have an 18 strength, you can jump really far, but most of us are going to have 1 or 2 space that we can jump. So if you have that running speed, you can jump up to 15, 20 feet, which is pretty extraordinary, but hey, that's how it is. Okay, so that's how you use the 2-point action system. And of course, it's a little bit of a self-plug. The 2-point action system, again, is convertible with any of these OSR games. It's because all these games have an attack, a move, but that's it, right? So you either attack, if you have nothing else to do, you can't do anything else. You waste, all you can do is 1 attack, but use the 2-point action system. The other conversion we want to think about is if you are, for some reason, playing with Castle and Crusades, which is a little more powerful than these other games. Sagaborn's a little more powerful than these other OSR games as well. I should put OSC. Oh, it's on there. Anything that's a cantrip is considered a tier 1 spell. Okay. Or if it costs 0 mana, it's considered a tier 1 spell, just so you can kind of understand when you're trying to use that second spell cast what it means. But some systems don't have cantrips, so if it's a spell 1, it's a rank 1 spell, slot 1, whatever it is, level 1, it's all tier 1. Okay. Now, the final thing I want to do is I want to give you some magic items if you don't have any. So depending on what level you chose, you're going to give yourself that much gold pieces. So if you chose a level 3 character, as I suggested, you're going to have 60 gold pieces. Okay, we're just going to choose the highest XP value, and that's how many gold pieces your character starts. This is a little unfair because I just looked at that BX, remember, and they had 200 and whatever gold piece, 247. So that seems a little unfair. So let's go ahead and, you know what? The BX characters, let's cut their gold pieces down to 1/3. Yeah, and that makes it fair. So whatever it says on your BX character sheet, cut down to about third. And the reason we're doing that too is the prices of Shadowdark equipment's a little bit different, and so that gold pieces are it is going to matter. I mean, you know what I mean. Like it's cheaper in Shadowdark, so 247 goes way longer, way further in Shadowdark than it does in Dungeons and Dragons. So now that we know how much gold you have, depending on the level that you chose to be. So again, if you're level 3, you got 60, 100, 150, and so forth as you go up this level. I think I've said 1, 3 to 6. You can make a 7th level character. It'll be fine. Yeah, let's just say up to 7th level character. Or if you've been playing along, bring your PC with you, okay? And then based on that, now you have your gold. You can start buying equipment, okay? So I have the expanded weapon list here from all the scrolls. So you can buy the hand axe, the stave, a round shield, which is I don't have the scroll listed here, but just trust me. And these are from another. I think this might be Crit Scroll 1. There's more weapons here. Here's more weapons on here that you can choose from. And this is the standard weapon list in Shadowdark, as well as the armor in Shadowdark. So you can buy whatever you want. Go ahead and screenshot it, pause the video. You can take a look at this, and I should be able to see what does it look like. It is a lot of info. But you should be able to also stop the video and see the throne property, spirit thrower property, and then we already returning property. That's for the boomerang. Okay. So hopefully you got all that. Then we're also going to give you a magical item. Okay. You should always start your players with a magical item. I don't care if they're level 1, 0, who gives a crap. So we want it to be fair, right? So if you're a magic user, you probably don't want armor, and you probably don't want weapon. So I would say roll the d6, and then whatever you get between 2 and 5. If you really want it to be random, it doesn't make sense, right? Because if you're adventuring and you come with the magic wand and you're a fighter, you're probably going to go take it somewhere and sell it, or give it to a friend, and vice versa. So I would say pick an appropriate here, and then once you do that, you just go to these different charts. Okay, so once you roll the 1d6 here, you pick. Now you can roll the type of armor it is, the bonus you're going to get with that, okay? And you can add a benefit to it, right? Literally roll 2d6, and then depending on what you roll, you can add an extra benefit. And here's some armor benefits, potion benefits. If it's a scroll, the tier of the spell, you have to have some Shadowdark. And actually, you can go online and find all the Shadowdark spells on the website. Okay, so then you choose that. Here's weapon benefits. And I think we're good. And without anything more to add to this, let's get this party started.
It has been several hundred years since the collapse of the Astoria Golden Age. A collapse caused by power and magic. The great houses have fallen. Magic knowledge has been all but lost, and all major cities have been abandoned and overrun by plant life and monsters. All that is left are barricaded small secluded hamlets, villages, and scarce towns. You are in the age of ruin. It is also the age of exploration. The few who dare leave their protected walls seek fortune, a better life, or power. Be part of the few, the bold who seek to rebuild, face the dangers, and discover of unearthed arcana. Your journey begins now.
I hope your blood's pumping a little bit. Again, welcome to Astoria. It's been 700 years or so since the collapse of major civilization. You are what we call the World's End Hamlet. It's a small little village essentially, but it's a hamlet, smaller. I also have PDFs for the hamlet at RPG Boons, Don Franco 3 Games, the tab. So you can go there to have some NPCs that you can use. And basically you're at World's End. This is where everything to the west from World's End is this bunch of small villages. And people, there's some hierarchies being formed, stuff like that. But people in general come to World's End to get away from it all. Or maybe they seek treasure, maybe they seek adventure, maybe they seek revenge, and they heard someone went out east. So there's a lot of villages to the left. All major cities have collapsed, okay? They just don't exist anymore. No great powers exist anymore. There's rumors these days of certain areas becoming more powerful. World's End being one of them. If you've been playing along, you know that World's End had gold found underneath the city. They've excavated it, and it appears that the mine has run out. And in fact, there's people within the city who want to start digging around in other areas besides underneath the city. But at the same time, the magistrate does not want more attention coming there. With the gold rush that happened, a lot of people started going southbound. Okay, south, there's a city called, a small settlement called St. Abbey's. And people started going down there, left here with their riches, started establishing a small hamlet down there at St. Abbey's. But recently, a few people came back and said that a local man has gone mad, that new magic has been found, and they come back here to World's End seeking help to liberate St. Abbey's to the south. Now you're here, you're an adventurer. The magistrate, he has a little bit of pull, a little bit of power. He gathers the people here in the near the well. I don't want to call it central location, but it's an area where a lot of people hang out. And he gets up on his little podium and he looks out. And he says, "Dear all, we are looking for several good men to look and go down to St. Abbey's and see what's going on. To be honest with you, we can't sustain all the people that are here from St. Abbey's, and we just need to clean up what mess is going down there, and we're looking for some volunteers. Any man willing to go will get 2 gold on the way there, and another 3 gold when they come back after the problem has been solved. In addition, we'll be taking some of our soldiers with you to support you to make sure this problem in St. Abbey's is taken care of. Is anybody interesting?" And you begin to see people gathering around, various people,
Oh, you monstrosity! Get
and
back!
seeing what's going on. Let's see, I know, lagging a little here.
Sure, it's fine and dandy
And you
now. But wait till
Decide
later.
you want in on this. You want some gold. You want to strengthen yourself. You want to find ways for adventure you seek. And so a few of you start gathering together. I'll come. And a small mob of you starts forming here. And he goes, very well. I have enough to cover only so many people. So welcome. Now this is the one. I don't know what level character you made. Based on the character level you made, we're going to give you either henchman equal to 10 minus whatever level character you made. Okay? So if you made a 3rd level character, you have 7 henchmen. Does that make sense? If you have a 5th level character, you have 5 henchmen. If you made a 7th level character, you have 3 henchmen. Okay? In addition, because I like all your ability scores to matter, whatever your charisma is, I want you to make a charisma check. I want you to lean into the magistrate and say, "Sir, don't you think we need a few more men than just this?" And so I want you to make a charisma check, DC 10, like I said. Use your charisma roll, and if you succeed, I'm going to give you an additional 1d6 henchmen. Okay? So go ahead and make that roll, either on the die roller or the 20-sided dice you have in front of you. Maybe, like me, perhaps you have a d20 at all times. So either bring your d20 out and there it is, roll it, and see if you succeed. Once you've gathered your men, he makes the payment. There's whatever men you got with you, the 10 minus your level, those are his men, and then whatever 1d6 you rolled, those are the additional extra henchmen. But his soldier, or at least the people that he's bringing with you, are the original amount of henchmen you got. Excuse me. Elixir once more. Just getting over a cold, remember. Okay. So you proceed down the city. Let's go to St. Abbey's. What do we know about St. Abbey's? It's a small town just like World's End. It's an establishment. It's a little younger than World's End. And you proceed down the pathway. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Proceed down. Proceed down. Oh my god. Proceed down. And the city's been doing well. They set up a small farming community. They've been able to sell some crops. They've been doing well. They've been sending crops up north to World's End. But now all we know is that the disturbances happened, a man has gone mad, and maybe new magic has been found. Witnesses say it appears that an undead have risen. Others say no, that doesn't make any sense. Things are just coming to life. I don't know what's going on. These are the various rumors you're hearing. And now you're off to see what's actually happening at St. Abby's. As you continue down the road, it's about a 3 days march. And when you finally get there, you notice a white, it's not smoke, but a mist in the sky. It's really dense, getting closer and closer. The closer you get to where St. Abby's would be, the fog begins to mist, begins to settle in. You look around, it's broad daylight when you guys are arriving, but it's misty, foggy, and the closer you get to where St. Abby's would be, visibility is reduced. So what is it exactly that's going on? Continue to move, and it becomes so dense. You and the core group of soldiers stick together, huddled together. Huddled is a bad word. You guys are just close together, making your way towards... Oops. Where is this? There we go. Sorry about that little delay. You make your way towards St. Abby. And this is the white mist. The visibility is very poor. You can see this is about 20 feet out and another 20 feet of a lot less vision to see. And let's get a little closer. As you approach the town, you do hear an occasional chicken here, a goat here. Excuse me. You hear a neigh here, but you don't hear nothing else. You hear some birds chirping, but you can't really see anything. Now, the way henchmen are going to function in this game is that, one, you can have them make attacks. Whatever number of henchmen you have, you can go to this virtual die roller and throw whatever number of henchmen you want to use. I don't care how many. But, standard rule, for every fail of a hit you make, that henchman dies. Okay? So, make a flat attack roll. They have no bonuses. On a success, they do 3 damage to the creature. On a failure, they instantaneously die. Even if, let's say, the monster has, let's say, 1 hit point, and you roll 5 dice to make sure you kill it. If you roll 4 failures and 1 success and you kill the monster, 4 henchmen die. Okay, that's just the rule. The monster gets lucky, they got in, they put some good hits, and your men die. The other thing you can do is when you roll to attack against yourself, or if you want to use the counter-strike rolls that I'm going to show you later on at the end, anytime you take a hit, you can let the henchman die instead. Doesn't matter what the damage is. It's a single hit. You have to let the henchman die. Okay? And so you continue down the road. And just to show, because, this is in vivo live, I don't want to railroad us. I set up this map, but we're going to make it a little random. I'm going to let the fate of the dice decide what happens to us. So we continue down the road. I know normally you might not go down the road, but it's also dangerous to get off the road. I know, it's a computer. 1 second, it's struggling. So we continue to go down the road. Oh my god. Down the road. Really struggling here. The computer, apologies. And as we continue to go down the road, we reach a fork. Oh, not a fort. With that, we continue to go down the road. Oh, now, let's see, we see an open space here. So we see a shelter. One of the soldiers jumps over here, looks inside the window, yells back at you. It appears to be empty. This seems to be holding grain over here. Walking in. Looking around, and again, it's really dense fog, so it's really difficult for you to see. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to make a wisdom check, aka a perception check. Okay? DC 10. You're in charge, you're the lead, you're the man. So you're ruling for everybody. If you succeed, okay? If you succeed, I will allow you to take 2 free attacks, range attacks if you got them, at what you hear coming, which is and through the mist, you see what appears to be undead persons. 2 free attacks, if you perceived it correctly. If you did not, then they get a surprise attack on you. Yup, sorry. People are distracted, and all of a sudden they come through. Right, so get your either free 2 attacks. Remember, you have the 2-point action system. You have 2 points to start at the beginning of combat. You can use your reaction dive, reaction parry, but that means by the time it's your turn, you're going to have to have lost a point. And you only be able to do 1 attack or a move. In this case, the zombies are right up front to you, so you don't really have to move. So I want you to 3 zombies. I know, you're like, well, what are their stats? Yeah, I got you. Okay. They have 11 hit points each, right? These suckers are not weak. But you got 2 attacks. You can roll your henchmen and throw as many attacks as you want. So again, you get 2 free attacks, not with your henchmen, just you, because you're the lead if you perceive them in time. If not, they get surprise attacks on you, 1 each. They have +1 to their attack, and they do 1d6 damage. And if you happen to pull a cleric, which I kind of sort of told you to pick a fighter, sorry about that. If you pull a cleric, you can do turn undead. Still getting over that cold, peeps. Okay. So go ahead and roll the attacks. Remember, we're using the Counter-Strike rules. Flat rolls for your henchmen. 3 damage on each hit that you get. They only get the 1 attack. You get your 2 attacks if you're not using them, if you haven't used them prior to your turn. And on their turn, they get 1 attack each. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and settle this combat. I'm going to let you do that, so go ahead and get pause. I'm going to eat the cookie. All right, you're back. I'm just going to assume. I mean, the dice could betray you. You could be dead right now, but I doubt it. So whatever men you have left, you go through here. You check the rest of these huts. They appear to be empty. You can see the farmland out to the northeast. These are homes. And these guys do indeed appear to be undead. If you're a wizard or cleric, I would allow you to make some type of arcana check. So you have to have magic, and depending on what your magic background is, if you're using intelligence or wisdom to cast, you can determine what's going on here. So DC 10, this is all part of the roleplay. Go ahead and just so you can have more story to your game. Roll it. If you succeed, you can tell that these are not really undead. They're not being created by your standard dark magic. There's something else. They're undead, but they're not being reanimated through the standard dark magic you're normally used to seeing. If you didn't make an arcana check, or you couldn't because you're just a fighter, scratch all that. You see what appears to be zombies. You don't know anything else. Okay, so you check this entire area. Appears to be a dead end. At least the first village in this area. There's the farm. So you proceed to go down. All right, let's continue to go down the path. You gather up your men, your equipment. And now we finally reach a fork in the road. Okay, so again, I don't want to totally railroad anything. Map is built. If we roll high, we go left. If we roll low, we go right. Or down, right? When I pull this 20 out, it doesn't count. We're going to put it in the mimic first. So high left, low right. All right, we got right. 16's high, we're going to go down, not right. This is left to the left here, or going down is kind of going right. Continue down the path. You see a windmill? Yeah. It's the windmill's upside down because I actually flipped this map because I didn't like the orientation, and it's 3, blah, blah, blah. So we continue to go down. You and your men. Again, you're seeing little patches of farmland here and there, right? You can see on the right that they have some crops there. You do see some huts. You have some men. They look in. Again, it's empty. You know, and some of these empty homes might be from some of the people who went to World's End seeking for help. So you continue down the path. And down the path, occasionally hearing a noise. Bird, something scuffling in the distance. You're not really sure what it is. Okay, now we're here. Now, even because I don't have this map memorized, we're going to take a quick look-see around. We go to this thing. It appears to be a dead end. There's nothing in there. Okay, now we're at another fork in the road. Okay. You can either go left here or right. And we're going to do the same thing. If we roll high, we go left. Sorry, if we roll high, we go right. Oh my God, I might have messed that up, but whatever. Brain dead. So if we go high, we go left. If we go low, no, what is it? It doesn't really matter. Okay, if we go high, we go right. Low, we go left. Low, left, that makes sense. Out. So go ahead. We're going to roll that 20 again. Shake it around a little bit. You see I'm using my mouse to click on it. You can actually use your finger, then toss it. All right, look, it's too high, so we're going to go right again. Proceed to go down this path this way instead. Continue. An occasional continue. You see some hedge. Very eerie, very quiet, except for the occasional bug, the occasional little animal scattering through the ground. You see another hut of sorts here. And I kind of don't remember what's all over here. Once again, come over here. We go see over here. We don't really find anything. See, the hedges are trapping in this little hut. There's nobody there. You know where to go, but further south. So let's go ahead and continue to do that. Now, I want you to make this one's double. What am I talking about here? Go ahead and do a DC. There's going to be two values here, a DC 15 and a DC 10. Okay, so if you beat a DC 10 but don't beat a DC 15, wisdom check or perception check. Let me know. All right, so go ahead and roll that. If it's a DC 10, between 10 and 12, you see that you're in kind of what might be considered the town center. And you see what appears to be a gazebo. I'm not sure if a gazebo is the correct word. One of those things, you know, where you can have picnics and stuff. Is it a gazebo? Somebody help me out here. Is it a gazebo? Whatever it's called. You see that? And on top of it, DC 10, if you roll 10 or 14, you see a statue on the very top of it. Okay. If you rolled a 15 or higher, you're looking up. You know, most of the crew's looking up. Everybody sees the statue, or at least you pointed out first. Look, there's a statue above there. Everybody looks. Starts looking away. Everybody's kind of on alert. But if you rolled a 15 or higher, you swear to God this freaking thing is moving. This statue is moving. And before, if you rolled 15 high, you can go ahead and take 2 attacks. You see it starts moving forward and gets ready to jump off of this gazebo toward your area. So you can attack twice. If not, it jumps down and takes a surprise attack at you. And I'm going to roll that surprise attack. It's going to have advantage if you failed your perception check. Okay, that doesn't count. So let me grab these dice. And of course, ignore this. Otherwise, you're free to take your free 2 attacks at the gargoyle as it's coming down. You can take your free 2 attacks. If you did not do that, this applies to you. Advantage. Oh my god. There's just no way. Let me get the stat block for this guy. Where is it? It's got to be here. There it is. I am. So now you can see the stat block. +3 to claw attacks. It has an armor class of 16, so you can take your 2 attacks. And very importantly, it can only be damaged by magical sources. Now, this is a little rough, right? So, if you chose a fighter, and when you got that magic weapon, or you did not choose a magic weapon, you got magic armor instead, this is going to be rough. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I don't want to completely, shaft you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the monster 3 attacks against you before it actually starts becoming injured. If you have no magic items, okay? If you have a magic item, do your 2 attacks, and by the way, your henchmen cannot damage this gargoyle. So it's really up to you. None of these henchmen have magic weapons. But because I don't want to completely shaft you, they're free 3 attacks from the gargoyle. And it gets 2 attacks, right? So the attack you see, it says attack 2, claw +3, that's how much bonus it has. And the claws do 1d6 damage. It's going to take 3 rounds of attacks at you, okay? And roll 2 attacks for each one. If you have no magic weapons, you basically, during those 3 rounds, are kind of weakening its stone structure, its stone skin, and then after that, I will allow you to start doing damage. Unless you have that magical weapon, immediately, if you had a +1 sword, whatever it is, you can do all the striking. You can do the 2 attacks for those 3 rounds. But after 3 rounds, I will allow you to start using your henchmen. All right? And again, every time this monster hits, either you take the hit or the one henchman dies. And I'm not going to kill your henchman by making you attack something they can't hurt for those first 3 rounds. Okay, so go ahead and start rolling that out. 20 hit points, 16 armor class, 2 attack claws on its turn, 2 claw attacks on its turn, 1d6 damage. Only gets hurt by magic until after starting 4th round. I'll let you start making attacks with your henchmen doing damage, or you if you have no magic item. Does that make all sense? I hope it all makes sense. So go ahead and pause the video and have that attack. And I'm gonna have myself another beautiful cookie. I know nobody wants me to watch me. Then I'm running out of the elixir. All right, so the assumption is that you've defeated this gargoyle. The fate of the dice sucks sometimes. You might not have any henchmen with you. You could have gotten up to 7 plus the 1d6 for your charisma roll if you succeeded. Maybe you got plenty of men. I don't know. So you continue to go down. All right. You circle about this. This gargoyle's dead. We'll put it up here. And you see a road going back up. And, I'm going to say, you know that you came up from that way. So you came from this way. So you suspect that this road going up goes back to the original road you were at. You circle about. You see some busted statues there. You see 1, 2 paths going down. Got here some more stone structures. And you came from there. So there really is only a path going up and 2 paths going down. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're not going to go up. Or should we make it an option? I'll tell you what. We're going to roll 1d6. No. Let's do a 1d10. A 1 to 2. You're going to go up to see what's going on over there. 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go left. 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go down. All right. So 1d10. 1, 2 up. 3 to 6 left. 7 to 10 downward. And the first pulling out doesn't count. I'm gonna put it in the mimic box. Not yet, baby. Not yet. There we go. 10. Okay, look. The dice gonna do what the dice gonna do. So here we go. We're gonna go down here. We rolled 10. That's the high. We're gonna just go down this way, not go left. Continue to head down this way. This path again. We see a home. We take a look inside. It looks abandoned. We do see actually in this house a dead body, but otherwise it's abandoned. Continue down the road. How are we doing? Shisa. We're getting to the grind here. And again, we see a fork left, fork right. So we're going to go ahead and roll the dice. We can roll the 10. We can do 1 through 5 goes left, 6 through 10 goes right. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Now we can go. All right, we're going to go left here. Continue to go down. And we see another split in the road. Okay. Now we have to decide again, do we want to go left or down? Left or down? Wait, did I go the right way? Let's go back here real quick. No, I did. And what did I roll? We're going to go down. We continue down this road. We're pushing up for about an hour, but it was 27 minutes of character creation. Interestingly enough, as we're pulling down this way, we do see horses. They're lashed onto this building here. They're alive. They seem well. And again, this house appears to be empty and abandoned. There's nobody in here. And these horses seem fine. So we continue to go down. Now we need to make a decision here. Do we want to go down or right? So again, 1 through 10. Sorry, 1 through 5 on the down. 6 through 10 going right. Oh, must be fate, actually. So we start going down this path to the right. And interestingly, we start, again, we see nothing here. But as we get closer, we start hearing a very weird sound. It's like a sobbing. Oh, like a sobbing, basically. And I want you, we hear sobbing. You don't need to make any type of check, but as we're getting closer and closer, we realize that it's a grown man. It sounds like a man is crying. Excuse me. And as we continue down this path, we see what appears to be a cemetery. Now I'll leave it up to you. You can try to stealth it in, because as we're pulling in, we can see a man crouched. Like, keep in mind that this is the maximum of our vision, so as we're pulling in, I know I could have put this on top. As we're pulling in, you can see that there's a man slouched over here. And if you're a thief, if you happen to keep that thief character, you can make a dexterity stealth check and be quiet, and I'll allow you to sneak in this way while your men are moving forward at a normal pace. You can go ahead and do that. If you're a thief, or a similar class, some class that has stealth. But as they approach this man, they go, he turns around immediately. Who goes there? And you say, if it's not you, it might be hidden back here. Somebody says, what goes on here? Why are you here? He goes, you don't understand. I tried to save her. I tried to save her. It's not my fault that it all turned out this way. I tried to save her. And this is what it made me. I wish I never found that spellbook. I wish I never found the spellbook. Now, he begins to cast a magic spell. And if you're in stealth, I'll allow you to take 2 free attacks at him. Let me go ahead and pull that stab block. Okay. Now this is the final boss fight. And we're going to go over a few things. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to take an attack at him if you want. We have 2 free attacks on him. All right, but he also makes a bunch of monsters rise. Let's see if we can get it all in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, because then also he makes a gargoyle arise. So now we have 6 zombies and a gargoyle. Let's zoom out a little bit. I believe you can still see this. This is his stats. All of these real quick. Copy X paste. That's his stats. These are zombie stats. Gargoyle stats. Yeah, I know. It's a lot of monsters. But it's not that many monsters if fate has sided with you. And just to kind of be a little fair, we're going to say all these zombies here have 1 hit point, okay? So ignore the 11 hit points. All these have 1 hit points. This gargoyle only has, well, 20 is fine. So this gargoyle is going to have 20 hit points. All these zombies have 1 hit point. And this mage does have 27 hit points. He summons all these things. You might have gotten 2 free attacks. On his turn, he does a teleportation and moves behind everybody. Okay, and so you would have to battle these zombies. Right? And when you're fighting this guy here, he is known as the Vitaemancer. You actually don't know who he is, but he's the Vitaemancer. If you remember, your henchmen, they can all attack. Flat rolls, 3 points of damage each. So every time these henchmen hit these zombies, they'll kill one of them. I actually recommend them going after her. You want less attacks coming at you, so have them attack these zombies. Maybe you can focus on the gargoyle, and meanwhile, the Vitaemancer on its turn will just take right now 1 attack. Okay, and if you want to use the counter-strike rules, basically you roll your d20, and based on what your armor class is, I have no idea what armor class you have, but if you have like an armor class of 15 or 14, you can see if you roll a 7 or 6 or less, then he's going to do, if you're in melee range, he's going to do 1d8 or 5 damage average with his Morningstar. If you're out of range, he's going to do his 2 bolt attacks. They do 2 points each, so if you get hit, you either take 2 points of damage 2 separate times, or 2 henchmen die. Or you can take 1 bolt and let your henchman die, okay? So this is the counter-strike rules. You roll your dice. If you hit him, you hit him. You do the damage to the Vitaemancer. But if you roll 10 or less, this is the effect of his attack on you. Okay? So if you roll 4, he heals himself 7 hit points. If you roll 2 to 3, he does a spell called Agony. It does 2d8 damage or 9 damage to you. If you roll a natural 1 for some reason, there is a golem that he can summon right here, who enters the scene and crashes everything. Only if you roll a natural 1. Okay? So very quickly, here's all the monsters and the stats. It also has non-magical attacks, but again, we're gonna do the same rules for this gargoyle and this golem. The first 3 strikes on it, or he gets at least, this guy gets gonna get 3 slam attacks or 2 claw attacks for 3 rounds. It's kind of a lot. Let's do for 2 rounds, okay? For 2 rounds, they'll get any attacks against them won't work unless you have magic or unless you have a magical weapon. And I think that's it, guys. We're at 2. It's been about 40 minutes. This is the boss fight. And that's it, everybody. This is the Age of Ruins. I'm Don Franco 3. This is RPG Boons. We talk about everything RPG and how everything is RP.